guys. Welcome to another episode of Red Seal Gaming Presents. Today, we are presenting community leaders. And the first community leader on our podcast is our buddy Faiz. Faiz, welcome to the podcast.
What's up?
How you doing, bro?
Good. How are you?
All right, great. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be joined by Chris and Sal, as always. And today, we're going to discuss Faiz's journey as a gamer and how he joined us here at Red Seal and how he got into Flesh and Blood.
Got thrown in.
They're in the deep end.
In our new community lead format, what we have here today is our buddy Faiz. What we've been doing here at Red Seal, especially on our Discord and at the store, is we have designated community leaders that are responsible for getting the community together, planning events, helping them with direct questions from certain games. If you have an issue with a game or a question with a game, and your first point of contact should be your community lead. So you could say, hey, they probably know everything you need to know about whatever game you have a question about. If not, you can always come to an employee. But the leaders of the community have been invaluable for us here at Red Seal Gaming. And one of those community leads...
Just so you know, on the Discord, the community leaders are in turquoise. So their name will appear in turquoise.
Their new color, yes.
Not burgundy, not orange. Turquoise.
I'm sorry, guys. He had to force his way into that one.
There was
Sounds like you have a vendetta.
Well, there was a heated discussion on our Discord recently. It was fun. It was jovial, but people were voting on what color the community leads would have in the Discord, and it is currently teal.
Yeah,
none of which I can see, so it doesn't matter because Dan is colorblind as hell. But we digress and have a little fun as we always do here at Red Seal. But our buddy Faiz here is our community lead for Flesh and Blood. So what we wanted to do is mostly for people in store, but for in general for people out in the wide world that know how we do things here at Red Seal, is the community leaders are invaluable, and we wanted to give them a little time on screen to express the history similar to what we've done in the past, how certain community leaders got into gaming, what eventually brought them into tabletop and board games, and what brought them to Red Seal and got them to where they are now. So I guess, Faiz, we'll start with what got you into gaming as a young boy?
So I don't have like a first game story. I just have like a bunch of things that I like ran through like as a young lad.
Okay.
Up until my
as a wee
lad.
years. I did a mix of like video games and board games, and then obviously like the board games are the Monopolies and Snakes and Ladders and chess and
what video game generation? Like where do you enter the video game generation?
The first console in my house was the N64.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I spent a lot of time on the N64, especially like in my household, I was, I guess, the hand-me-down gamer. So whatever my brother got bored with, that's what I got.
Oh.
So he got the N64, then I got the N64, then my sister got the N64. He got the PS2, I got the PS2, and then my sister got the PS2, and then GameCube. Luckily, my family was pretty okay with like us gaming, especially once we finished our homework and stuff. So like, always my free time, I'm just trying to get to play some games or crack out a board game and not read the rules and play it. That was definitely like
the best.
It was definitely like an early thing where like I never knew how to play any board games. I did not know how to play Risk. I did not know how to play Monopoly.
So you just kind of threw the pieces on the board
Yeah,
and
we
started
just
shoving
did,
them
and,
around.
like,
And
I don't know,
think
I
this
was
is
like-
how it's played.
Yeah, I'm like, something not right, but like, I don't know. Like,
That might explain why he sucks at Flesh and Blood.
possibly.
Wait, where's the rule book? Hold on, we got to test it.
There isn't no real official rule book. You have to go online.
This is true.
It's like 60 pages too.
Fair enough. Deep. Touche.
I mean, I am level 1 judge, so I guess I have to read.
Don't let anybody do that though.
Don't let anybody come
Yeah,
on his
you also
podcast
are
as
level
well.
one.
I'm also a level 1 judge.
So it's just then my brother got some Pokemon cards. I got some Pokemon cards. Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think Yu-Gi-Oh was like a really big like spark for me because of the TV show. I was like a Saturday cartoon watcher.
Okay,
So
for you, I guess it was the Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh was like around the time when I was watching Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. But Yu-Gi-Oh was like a big one where I got to see them play the cards, and then I got to play the cards.
Yeah.
And then I got to see them play the cards, and I got
What age? Like what age are you talking here?
I don't know, like 7, 8 maybe.
It's the power of the animation coinciding with
You
the
got to
cards,
experience
right?
the heart of the cards.
Pretty much for a long, long time. And Yu-Gi-Oh, I think, stuck with me for a while until high school and maybe like right before college.
Okay.
Pretty much primarily a video gamer for most of my life because middle school, no one really played any like board games or card games. Pretty unheard of. High school, same thing. No one really.
So what after high school? When did you get into gaming again? Then?
So
Because I think we all
I had
a
a
little
friend
break in
who we
middle
still
school.
enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh. So then we were just looking up ways to explore, up our game, and then funnily enough, we found that there's a thing called a sneak peek for Yu-Gi-Oh,
Okay.
which is like a pre-release, but you don't actually play. You just open the cards.
Okay.
It's a weird thing Yu-Gi-Oh does. They don't have a because they don't you don't draft their product.
Okay.
So one of my first experiences is Time Zone Gaming.
Oh, okay.
You guys ever been there in Ford?
We've been in Time Zone.
Yeah, so I went there for my first sneak peek, and you go in the back, you wait outside in a line for like 20 minutes, even though you're there early or on time, and then they bring you in the back.
We'll have to talk to Sean about that.
That sounds shady, right?
sounds
It's like,
shady,
hey,
yeah.
Honestly, like I'm like in high school, and I'm like it's very weird, and I convinced my mom to like be okay with it. You know what I mean? It's not something normal that gets done. And I'm with these like much older people. There's not many people my age. It's mostly older people. Maybe someone brought their kid.
Okay.
But it's much older people, and you go in the back, you open some packs. People are trading, bargaining, whatever.
But
I'm
no,
probably
playing at all.
no playing. I mean, some people play on the side here and there, but the experience is
official.
not to play. It's just to open 6 packs before anyone else can.
Okay.
That kind of sounds a lot like Pokemon. Honestly.
Yeah,
Like, it's like
yeah.
the experience is not about playing; it's about just getting the cards and collecting
and
them.
looking
Which
for
is
the-
funny because Yu-Gi-Oh is a heavily played game. But
Yes.
like that, their weird pre-release thing, and then they give away playmats and stuff. And like at the time, it was very hard to get playmats. Like they don't nowadays. They just print playmats like crazy. You can
Yeah.
get it anywhere. Amazon, the store has a bunch. Like before, getting a playmat was like something crazy. Like oh my
God.
god,
The playmat. Yeah.
yeah, it's a sneak peek on it, and like.
Yeah, I remember the early Magic.
Yeah,
mats. They were hard to
I
find.
won my first playmat on a sneak peek. I was like, this is amazing. I have this
Premier.
badass playmat.
I didn't know you couldn't draft or play sealed with Yu-Gi-Oh. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh, so that's my my ignorance is showing. But like, I didn't know that it wasn't a format.
Yeah, they aren't draft boosters. They're just like you open them. I think they're smaller packs too, like 10 cards.
10 cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no like
Interesting.
there's no tokens or draftable cards, I believe.
No, do they do starter products? Once again, I'm completely ignorant to the
They do
situation.
everything.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do holiday products, starter products, like decks,
Do pre-con decks.
yeah,
Yep.
combo decks. They do everything.
Cool.
It's
Sorry.
just as complicated as Pokemon, pretty much.
Interesting.
Because they're trying to get kids into it, but at the same time trying to appease to like the more established gamers.
Gotcha.
So Time Zone, Yu-Gi-Oh. What's your next progression after that?
Around the Time Zone gaming time, I also did walk around Woodbridge Mall and then randomly bump into what's it called, the game room.
The game room.
I would walk in.
Should we speak his name again, just so he can comment?
John the game
John-
room. There we go. Continue
John
now.
the game room.
Might summon
Luckily,
him.
or not luckily, I didn't meet any of you guys there. I walked in. It's this very dark, shady looking store again. I don't know what's with gaming stores and that vibe.
Poor lights. Yeah.
Poor lighting, dark. We're not welcoming to kids. But like I did for like a very brief second get into hero clicks. Or
Okay,
at least
that was-
collecting them.
Mhm.
So Game Room had a couple
Yeah,
Just
game
a
room
little
was
booster box.
pretty big into it for a
Booster-
while, for sure.
booster packs. There was a store nearby in Woodbridge Mall called Borders.
Mhm.
They used to have a little section for hero clicks. So that was kind of like my foray into maybe miniatures,
Okay.
collecting miniatures. I did see my brother dabble into Warhammer, but I never really like progressed. And then with Warhammer as well, the game room, seeing it on the shelf and seeing people's. I think there was a table there that had a display.
And they had the painted glass case
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
miniatures.
some
and
people
stuff,
had their
so-
stuff there, and that blew my mind.
I think we're gonna have to just take a moment on Discord one of these days and ask how many people actually did go to the game room. Because it's amazing. I mean,
We have
it was a
and
staple
we
for how
have
many
a
years?
we have a large age difference. So like we were probably in that store, and you were younger there. We
in
were
that store
probably
before he was born, dude.
no, but I'm saying, but like we were probably we were probably.
I
in
didn't
the
know it was open
You
there.
guys definitely overlapped.
We
Time
were-
overlapped.
we-
I worked there when he was there.
That's what
so
I mean. Like we
that's-
were in the store at one point. You would never know. We just
I
crossed
probably
it.
saw the end of the game room.
I wish that they had like
We
video.
were there for that. you know?
Imagine they had video coverage. We definitely walked by each other. one
Oh,
way or
easy.
another.
Easy.
Just didn't know.
Possibly. My mom is a mall person, so we would go to the mall a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Woodbridge Mall is really close. It's like a 10-minute drive.
I lived in Borders too. Borders is where I bought half of my Bob Salvatore books.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Borders, Walden
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was next to my high school, so I would go to Woodbridge Mall pretty much after school.
Okay.
Whenever we can. My mom would pick me up and then we go to the Woodbridge Mall. So I'm there a lot. So one of the stores to stop by just to see what it is, the game room. Borders closed down a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're
after
at the game room. What's your what you're doing Yu-Gi-Oh there as well? Or
no,
you
I
just-
don't do anything there. I
Okay.
don't know there's gaming. I don't know how to like.
just kind of shopping.
I
there
don't know
'cause
how to
your mom's in the
interact with
mall a
other
lot.
gamers.
Right.
That's like a foreign concept.
Mm-hmm.
The time zone gaming thing, I think you see it on their website. You sign up or something, or you show up early. I think it's
Yeah, and it was this. It was
first
this,
come, first serve.
Time
kinda
Zone was
deal.
a CCG store. So,
But
and
like
they had
again,
some
I didn't
hobby
know there
products.
was like a gaming, like a organized gaming part of it. That I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea of. I know people go to this place. I don't know that there's an organized gaming. Like you can play with other people, or like there's a night for it. And like convincing my mom to do something like this, like especially with older guys, she doesn't know, and like
It's not an easy sell, right?
And
Like,
Time
Especially,
Zone-
especially if it's called Dan's
I was
basement.
I was really gonna do that segue myself, but that's exactly why we
Pretty
didn't name
much
the
if-
store
if-
Dan's Basement.
Time Zone Gaming probably would have been called Dan's Basement, and I definitely would never.
We're
go
gonna
there.
have
Yeah.
Could have
You
been
know
called
what?
Dan's
You would have
basement.
been
We just
banned.
wait,
banned in
we
Hot
now
Tub.
have an official segment for Red Tail Gaming. We have the question: when you were gaming and you were young, would your parents have let you go to a store called Dan's Basement?
Definitely not.
There you go. So that's going to be the question we
Convincing
ask.
my parents to do
we
a lot
ask
of
everybody.
things was a little hard, especially with them being immigrants and not really understanding gaming. Because I didn't learn gaming from them. I just kind of like from my brother or from like friends, or I just picked it up
Now,
myself.
how much older is your brother?
He's 4 years older than me.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's
Pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like he every time he hit the age where he would get bored of something because of like the 4 year gap, I would like kind
it
of
was like the perfect age for you to inherit
yeah,
it.
I'll
Kind of.
pick it
That's
up.
good.
yeah. So like it just kind of like worked out for both of us. Around finishing high school, college, I did pick up a game called Dawn of War
Oh, there it is. There's another one. That's another.
in the GameStop in Woodbridge Mall.
Mhm.
Dawn of War Soulstorms.
Yeah.
specific.
Oh, that was,
I
good. That was
didn't-
the campaign one. That was the
at-
first time they
yeah.
added the campaign.
At the time, I didn't know they segmented all
And that's
the
a
games.
Warhammer game, right? That's
That
what
is
we're-
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
Warhammer.
That's,
Warhammer. Video
I
game.
think my big push into like seeing the world of Warhammer.
Yeah, quick reference for those that don't know, Dawn of War, specifically the Soulstorm one, was I think it was the third iteration in the game. I'm not exactly sure, but that one was the multiplayer version of Warhammer 40K RTS.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
And that one
overhead,
actually
looking
had
down.
that one
making-
actually had a campaign, so you can pick one of the many factions that were in 40K at the time and play through a whole campaign where you're fighting over one planet. There was like territorial.
So your introduction to Games Workshop was through the video game. Like you saw the models
Yeah.
at the Woodbridge Mall, but
Yep.
the video game really got you into
Yeah, the
it.
first interaction is definitely Dawn of War, the game.
were you playing any other RTS at the time?
StarCraft and Warcraft. I
Okay,
was
there
a
you
big
go.
Warcraft 3 guy
There you
back
go.
in the day.
Yeah, so
Um,
it lined up. It got you in the right frame of mind
Yeah.
for sure.
So I got to experience the world. At the time, I think YouTube is still like slowly and creeping where like there's some stuff, but like there's not a lot of like Warhammer content as it is now. Warhammer content is crazy now.
Well, yeah, it's come a long way. It's mainstream. You know, we're talking about Amazon TV shows.
It's going to get
yeah,
bigger.
It's only getting bigger. AAA titles like Dawn of War actually probably was considered a AAA title when it came out. It was was it Relic? I think was the game.
Relic,
company?
yeah. And it's a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
Dawn of War was, I mean, I remember people at New York Comic Con in full Marine gear, Sisters of Battle, cosplay out the wazoo, and I ran over to them and I'm like,
You played the tabletop game, right?
had
No
no,
idea.
No
clue
idea.
that there was
Yeah.
a tabletop game, but we only know it from Dawn of War. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, really? Because that's like fascinating that you have no idea it starts at miniatures.
Yeah,
They
this
had no
game's been
clue,
around
so-
since the 70s, but you only know the video game.
Yeah,
Like,
and they were fantastic. So, you know, anyway.
So right about that time, I go to college, and then I pretty much drop any physical games. I
I thought you
become
were
a
gonna say-
hard.
I totally thought you were gonna say I dropped all my classes.
I did finish college. I dropped physical gaming. I got into comic book collecting and pretty much primarily online gaming.
Okay.
A lot of online gaming. I played
Favorite comic book?
Moon Knight. When Declan Shalvey and Warren Ellis pick it up,
Okay.
that's where they invent the Mr. Knight suit. That's probably one of my favorites.
So you were really enjoyed the Disney Plus series, I'd assume.
Yes, I loved it.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big fan. I thought they did a good job. And I met Declan Shalvey at Comic-Con multiple times.
Oh, that's
He's
cool.
a really nice person.
Cool.
That's even better.
Yeah. So I do the weekly comic book thing. I'm not like trying to find like the number ones or like stock market it or anything. I don't even know that's a thing. Just collect what I like.
Okay.
I like the bargain bins. Like you get like this many comics for like $10. I'm like, this is awesome. Why are people throwing this out? And then I think for many years COVID hits, and that's when I get back into physical gaming.
Okay. Because you're home.
Home. I remember board games again. I see that board games are becoming a big thing. Like
They
there's like
were.
more mature and more realized board games instead of just Monopoly and Risk. So we pick up, I think, Ticket to Ride is the first
it
game.
is.
there
There it is. Bang, bang, bang.
That's the first
Yeah.
one. I'm like, oh, this is actually an interesting
Another-
game. We actually read the rules this time.
Look at that.
And he read the rules.
when
too?
you read the rules, the games are better. Who would have guessed?
But it's amazing how there are so many people take this. So here's Faiz's path, and it's, maybe it's diverse at the beginning, but it's coming down the same tributaries into the same river and into the same ocean.
But all through this time, I'm pretty much a nerd. Like sci-fi movies, Lord of the Rings, you name it. Like I'm still in the nerd sphere, but like gaming is not a thing I know of or anything like that. I see board games are a big deal. I start dabbling into that lightly. And then one of my friends suggests, hey, have you heard of this game Warhammer? I'm like, yeah, I have. He's like, oh, you could try it on a tabletop simulator.
Okay.
I'm like,
Another
okay,
big one.
cool. I know it's expensive and hard to get into, and it's a little complicated how you put it together because it's not a typical like just open it and play kind of experience. He's like, yeah, don't worry, we'll try it on tabletop. So I play my first game of 8th edition on tabletop simulator.
Wow.
During the
Interesting.
pandemic.
That's a really interesting way to come into it.
I did
Yeah.
not think that was your first play.
That's my very first game is on tabletop simulator. Yeah,
Interesting tidbit in the life of Faiz.
yeah. It's not physical Warhammer.
And what army did you play on tabletop simulator the most?
Necrons.
Okay.
I look through the factions. I see the Necrons. I remember the game room and the Necrons seeing there. I'm like,
Does that
okay.
have anything to do with your Discord name being Green Destruction?
Unfortunately, not.
No?
It kind of it feels like it's related now, but
Yeah.
like at the time I picked the name during I think it was when we got our PlayStation 3.
Okay.
One of the first games, Call of Duty World at War. You had to make a PlayStation Network name.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
a name.
I just picked Green Destruction.
You just like green and you like blowing things up. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I just picked it. I don't even like green.
That was the
Are you
randomizer button.
Are you a rampaging Kermit the Frog that we are not aware of?
Army Green,
Yeah.
Destruction.
Yeah. Okay.
Goes hand in hand.
All right. So you're playing Necrons on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, and then Dawn of War, I played Necrons too. So
Yeah.
like it all kind of like comes together. Then I'm like, okay, maybe time to start buying Warhammer. How do you buy Warhammer?
I know a guy.
I don't know a guy at the time. I go, I think, on Amazon and
Dangerous
order
times.
a box of Necrons.
Now, let me
Oh,
ask you
yeah, that's
a quick
We're
question.
gonna redact that. We're gonna
Yeah.
edit that part out. I go
All
on.
right,
Quick
I think I'm
question.
getting kicked out of the store now.
When you played Tabletop Simulator, was it during the pandemic?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. It
You're
was-
not allowed to leave the house, kind of.
I mean, it was the ultimate platform.
Yeah. Have you
It
played
was.
tabletop simulator since the pandemic ended? Like, have you gone back to it at all?
No one. I mean, I have it, but I haven't played.
I haven't gone
Simulator.
back to it at
I-
all. Like,
Yeah,
I
we were
guess
playing
I
the-
just enjoy the social part
We
of
were
it.
playing
I-
X-Wing on
I
there.
went on to X-Wing recently, and they've made so many updates that it's insane. Like, it was so simple when we started, and they've added so many small features that like it would take me another pandemic to learn how to use those features. But yeah, it was definitely.
I mean,
I haven't gone back.
installing the Warhammer models and everything is probably like an hour task alone, and then finding the rule books, not officially, is also a task.
Don't make me lose my retailer sponsorship.
But it saved us. Those things saved us during the pandemic. So
yeah,
absolutely.
like I again.
Well, and to his credit, like Tabletop Simulator created a GW purchaser. Like that's something to think
heavily
about too.
invested in the game now. I own almost every codex since then. Necron codex physically.
You've also gotten into other armies since you're doing a little.
Yes, I also have
Astra
gotten
Militarum.
Yeah, Deathcore Krieg. I have a Chaos Knights box. That doesn't even include Age of Sigmar either.
That's right.
I didn't even know there was an Age of Sigmar at the time. I just like Warhammer 40K. I know that. That's it.
I'm sorry. That's all we can say is we are sorry.
So you bought your first stuff online. How did you end up getting to like? When did you go into your first store to purchase, and when did you come to RSG?
So my first purchase in a store was when Indominus came out.
Mm-hmm.
The big Necron
big white
refresh.
box. Mhm.
So I played at the end of 8th, and then right before 9th started, and the big Necron refresh was happening. Everywhere online saying, this is the time to buy Necrons. This is the time to buy Necrons. I'm like, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered mine at Family Fun Hobbies
Oh.
because it disappeared everywhere.
Mhm.
The only place I could find it that had it, Family Fun Hobbies. I'm like, okay. And then that's kind of my first entrance into a game store. It's since pretty much Time Zone and the Game Room.
I will take a moment to say that all three of those stores have since
Are
moved
now
on,
gone.
and I will please make sure that doesn't happen to us.
I think there's a recurring pattern here.
Yeah, so let's hope that hope we're
Wait,
not on-
Phase walks in, store closes.
I don't know
Phase
what's
walks
I
in,
don't know.
store closes.
Wait, again, let's go. Cut. Again, just wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
Indominus was here in this.
We
store?
had Indominus here, but I was not open yet.
Okay.
I was so you know
Well,
as you
that
know-
was like the summer before you opened in September,
as
right?
you know, like for those that don't remember from the earlier podcasts, is I started selling online first. Had gotten rights from GW to sell online, and I was an Amazon seller. Who knows? You might have even bought from me.
Maybe.
It's very possible. At the
Okay,
time,
you're
I was,
allowed back. You're
At the time, we were doing Amazon only online.
Okay.
And because the store wasn't open yet, but I did have some Indominus in the store as we were getting
Okay.
this store that we're in.
this space.
Did
Yeah.
you get a lot?
Actually, I got quite a few. I think I got about
For your site
for the
opening
time,
size.
I got about 40 because I mean,
That's actually a lot.
for those that know, I mean, GW starter boxes, especially for 40K,
Yeah.
are usually an insane value.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane
Yeah.
value. You could look at anyone
100%.
in the past
Yeah.
like 4 editions.
I ended up finding a second one online because of like how much I get from
it could technically be close to $1,000 worth of minis in
Oh,
the
yeah,
box
because
if
they
you
did
were to
the
buy them
pre-order
separately.
again after. So I
Yeah,
pre-ordered
because
the
they did
second one.
because of the pandemic issues, they did
Yeah.
another print run of
Yeah.
the set, and we got more.
I think
from that
that's
one, too.
also like a big boost for GW and Warhammer in general. Like people bubbling in the pandemic and then
that
games
release.
like, that edition just blew up.
And they were looking for hobby. Like you had time to hobby now. You had
yeah.
time to build. You had time to paint. You had time to do all the stuff that
Yeah.
we always take for granted. That
Yeah.
I'm going to put all my gray models on the tables I want to play.
One
Yeah.
of the few joys of the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
It was just,
exactly. You had more
literally
time
had
to do
a lot of
hobby
time.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the Necron refresh was one of the best refreshes too.
They got so
the
many
models
new
were
models and
fantastic.
units.
Yeah, they looked awesome. They built awesome. They painted awesome. And thank God for YouTube at the time that everyone teaches you how to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
YouTube, that's
learned
right.
how to build. I learned what to buy to build. I learned how to paint. I learned what to buy to paint. I learned everything from YouTube.
YouTube's invaluable in the hobby space. And
Yeah.
look, that's why we're doing what we do right now. It's just a way to get out there and let people know what we do and let people hear chatter about how they got into gaming and it's just the perfect place to go to learn and just discuss about gaming in general.
Yeah. And then a couple more purchases are done in a store in Saraville. They're no longer in Saraville anymore. Tabletop
I
Heaven.
remember Tabletop. They're not there anymore?
No,
No,
they're
they
not on Main
moved.
Street anymore now.
They moved, I think, to South Jersey or something.
Oh, okay.
I
I remember that. There was like a little. I remember people having a hard time finding it. It was like on the side of the salon or something.
bizarre, very bizarre
Yeah.
location.
It was like
a
it
weird
was almost-
experience of the game store.
Wasn't it like wasn't it basically like an attached apartment to
It
the
was
front of
There
the
was
store?
there was an apartment above it, yes, and you had to like go to the side of the building to find the door. I think it was more like they were a brick and mortar, but did a lot of online sales, and the brick and mortar was kind of like a secondary thing. Like if you're within 10 minutes of us, feel free to pick up your order. Otherwise, we'll send it to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like he offered a pickup service, which you had to like schedule with him, which was kind of weird.
COVID in general was weird.
It's pretty much a gutted out doctor's office
Okay.
with just GW product everywhere.
I mean, he was taking an opportunity as it existed. I'm sure,
and he sold it at a great discount. And
I remember him opening, like, I think he opened like right after I did. And me
Around
thinking,
the time,
and I'm
yeah.
thinking like, oh man, this guy opened like 7 minutes for me, and here
I
we
remember
are.
him
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
Remember
not
you
that,
saying close.
of course, not blaming the man. He has every right to do whatever he's doing. You just felt like, I wish we would have had communicated. I would have said, you go here and I'll go there or something like that.
Well, luckily for you, his ideas and goals were different.
Yeah, his goals were different.
And his interests heavily lied in Warhammer only.
Mhm.
That's literally only what he cared, at least at the time. I don't know what he does anymore now, but he's no longer there. But then after that, still looking online for game stores, I walk into Red Seal Gaming to pick up some paint.
Oh, there it is. There's the pivotal moment.
Because you can't walk into tabletop.
GW Paint gets a customer in my store. Dan loves Games Workshop. I'll tell you that right now. I love it. And I have an old rep, and his name was Dan. Sal, you heard me talking to him on the phone once. He had like a southern drawl.
Oh, I remember that guy.
He was really slow process of ordering paint, but he was a gentleman and a scholar, and he swore to me that GW Paint would pay my rent.
And GW Paint
Pays my rent. And it brought it. Now we know it also brought us Faiz. So
yeah, unfortunately, it brought us Faiz. But
I think a third store opened up at the same time too, which was the actual Warhammer store in Matawan.
He had opened a little bit before us, yes,
But
because
that
it
was
was one of the stores I would shop at before he opened.
There was another store that was a struggle to get into because of his odd timings and odd opening days. He's
The
closed
hours there are
like
crazy.
4 days a week, and like you had to. There's like a 4-hour window to really actually shop.
and then if you got there when he was on his lunch break, it was closed.
Yeah, like so
tough.
I had a hard time timing that. So like finding Red Seal open 7 days, really good hours. I can go after work.
And that was this store, the first store,
Check
right?
box,
This
check box, check
where
box.
we are right now. Yep. And then I find out it's a store. I found out it's a Discord. I joined the Discord.
You found out there was a handsome, bold man running the store.
I did not find out that yet. I find out. I think my first purchase was Aiden only.
I remember that. Yeah.
Aiden with an afro for sure.
Aiden.
Froden.
Oh, you know, Froden. Oh my goodness! I can't believe you just spoke Froden. That's amazing.
A good friend Way. I meet him on Discord for the first time. He's hosting a board game night.
That's correct. I remember that. That's how. I think that's what pretty much got you out of your shell.
Yes,
Because obviously you don't
Pretty
know
much,
everybody yet, and
yeah, I've never been to a game store again. Like haven't experienced the game store experience.
You
Also,
experienced all
like-
the bad game store experiences.
Exactly.
This was the first one that was actually positive.
Yes, or at least I had an interest of trying and doing something about it.
Mhm.
And gaming's booming, everything's and then I'm like, okay, let's try to do a social experience. Especially, I've been locked away with the pandemic for many years.
yeah,
like,
everybody was feeling it.
away from everyone. Let me just try to like push into like getting near people. We still had to wear masks. I think it was still mandated.
Yeah,
at
we
the
were
time.
still man.
we
Yeah,
still do.
The
we were still
first
masking.
board game night, I'm wearing a mask.
Mhm.
So board game night happens. I'm also at the time getting into Warhammer pretty heavily. I'm painting a lot. I'm building a lot.
Mhm.
I have a lot of Necrons amassed. And board games. I'm starting to accumulate a lot of board games. I'm starting to get into Kickstarters. That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Oh, goodness. I'm sure many of us have drained some bank accounts and credit cards on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've done Kickstarters. I've never even seen the product, and my money's walked.
Yeah, I mean that is.
I sponsored a
drawback.
whole thing, fortified village walls, because we always
That's
every
right.
time
We never. You
every
never got
time
that,
you
right?
start D&D, you start in like you fight timbered, keep,
Yeah.
and that guy
Almost-
never. He I think he got robbed in China.
There was also that one thing that we both got. I got it and you didn't.
I know,
It was like a wooden book that would hold your 7 D&D dice. It would hold your D&D character in like a nice little cushioned area, and it had a rolling tray.
And it was engraved with your characters.
Yeah,
like
and
class
it was all out of
symbols.
wood, and
Was
it
that
would
the
close
guy
like a
doing
book.
was that the guy doing the coasters that did that?
I don't know if he was a subsidiary of that guy, but Chris got it, and I
Yeah.
never got mine ever. And then like if you've gone through any of those failed things, you go through the responses, like the comments section.
Oh,
of
the
people.
the
Yeah,
vitriol
it's
is-
file.
And you got to realize Kickstarter's not like a
It's-
Yeah,
guaranteed.
people often forget.
Yeah.
And you trust someone, right? You trust them with
Yeah.
your money, and you trust them.
It's a risk.
The guy,
it's all stated there.
The guy with the keep literally got robbed in China. Like they stole his IP. He had no litigation. He had no way of they kind of just like, oh well, you need a little bit more money, and this poor guy's like scrounging.
Yeah, it was the first time for a lot of people to get into making board games.
They flamed him, but I was like, you know what? It's part of the gamble. Right?
Yeah,
but
it's
anyway.
a business, right?
Yeah, but now you're here, so now you're physically at RSG.
Yeah.
When do you find? What's the thing you find maybe after your GW and board games? What's like your next addiction? Or
one of the first board game nights. Oh, one of the board game nights. I think Chris is there, and then he hands me a free starter deck for Flesh and Blood. He's like, "Hey, it's free. You just try it out. I'll teach you. I'll teach you a game.
There it is.
You can play it like a board game. I think we play Ultimate Pit Fight 2 with Wei, and I think Aiden. And I get the Viscerai deck, and then I experience. I'm like, that's a cool game. It's free. I didn't lose anything out of it. I like the game.
And that's you did play Magic before that too with us though, right? You were playing some Commander.
I would, if there was like downtime, either one of you guys or Wei would like let me borrow a deck.
Got deck, what? Okay.
Like I'm still like brand new to I've barely touched Magic before then. I maybe turned on that Magic Arena once in a while just to see what it is. Didn't really understand it. I bought the Magic board game thing, like the Pentagon.
The game night?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the game night.
It didn't really like click with me, but then I see when I'm at your store, everyone's playing Commander. Like after the board game, they're playing Commander. Before the board game, they're playing Commander.
Pre-cons, we have pre-con.
When they're talking about Commander, or they're buying packs of Magic. I'm like, this is bizarre. What's going? Why is it, what is this game? Yeah. And I see Flesh and Blood on the shelf. Doesn't really attract me. But then I start playing, and then I do the first Armory here. I think it's August. And I actually 3-0 that Armory and win the Cold Fall for that night.
For that night, okay.
And the addiction began.
The addiction began. The store closed, reopened. We started Armories again, and then I pretty much have been going to every Sunday Armory for Flesh and Blood since then.
And now you are the Sunday Armories, because I've stopped doing them, so now you've taken it over completely.
For sure. I used to get destroyed by Chris, then I started beating Chris, and then he quit the game. And I
he beat him so bad, Chris sold all his cards.
I went home and started crying.
Ran him out of town.
I also played my first game of 9th edition in this store as well.
Of
40K?
40K?
40K, okay. Yeah. So I've played at least one game of every edition so far. I have a lot of Warhammer, but I haven't played a lot of Warhammer.
Well, that's part of the fact that it's a hobby. I try to tell that it's
100%.
Of all the things we do here, Warhammer is a full hobby. It's a buy, it's a build, it's a paint, and then it's scheme and flush out some points, and then you play.
Warhammer's a lifestyle. I find more of, there's so much more you're doing when you're not playing the actual game. You're home, think tanking or actually doing physical things and hobbying. So, but it's different. But yeah, I remember you brought Dune Imperium, was it? Did you have the original core?
Yeah, I have
board game.
Yeah, Dune Imperium.
I remember playing that. Was one of the first board games I played with you, and that was
that was RSG2. We did that. And that was a great game.
RSG2, we did a lot of gaming, a lot of board game nights, a lot of fab, got into Magic there too. Heavily invested in Magic too. Heavily invested in Flesh and Blood. I have a lot of board games now.
You got a Soulblight Gravelord's Army.
Yeah, full Soulblight Gravelord's Army.
We played 3rd edition in Store 2.
Yes, 3rd edition.
Played some Spearhead.
Yeah, my first introduction to Age of Sigmar is with you guys.
Yeah.
You guys got it up and going, and I started playing that.
Necron,
Warcry,
zombies, the kind of same. Yeah, Warcry we did.
Yeah.
Good. You've been doing a lot of gaming at Red Seal Gaming.
Yes, that's gaming and chatting. Sometimes a little too much chatting.
Well, we've had the discussion about how there's like multiple phases of leaving the game store.
Yeah.
It's goodnight, and then it's goodnight by the door, and then it's goodnight outside the doors. We're locking the door, 100%. And then it's goodnight as you're walking to the car, and then it might even be wait, just one more thing.
I think
I was going to say Faiz is a great example of not knowing anybody. And now, having all brand new and very close friends that,
Yep.
You've met through coming to a gaming environment, sitting down and playing these games. Hey, I love this game too. And just going through the cultural community aspect of the games we play is really cool to see.
And unlike us who tell stories of days of yore, and we've been doing it for 30 plus years, everything Faiz summed up was in basically a
last decade.
6 to 8 year period.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's a lot that's happened fairly recently, most of which is during the lifetime of the store.
Yeah.
And he's 2 feet deep in. It's not in like tiptoes. It's jumping in
No,
the
Faiz-
deep end with both feet.
I would say Faiz bleeds Red Seal game.
100%.
He's at the store. He
100%.
might be at the store more than me at times. There are weeks when he's at the store more than me because he comes in. When we're filming the podcast on Tuesdays, you're not always here.
Yeah,
but you're usually at the store.
I'm usually at the store.
Thursday night, you have your Flesh and Blood event.
Yep.
And you hang out and play your Flesh and Blood event, and then probably hang out with everybody else afterwards.
100%.
You've become, not only is he a friend of the store, he's also become a friend of my family. He's become close friends with me, the 2 others here. I enjoy his company regularly, and not just at gaming. We've had him at family events as well. And this is what gaming does, is what my point with bringing you on and not just making you a community leader because you're good at the game, which you are, and you're a great person, and you're easy to talk to, and you're great to new players. But this is what gaming does to people.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know this man at all without gaming. And this is just witness to it. Like, witness it, people. Like, witness
this.
The witness, don't be afraid. I mean, look where you were. Not that you were afraid, but you were shy and
100%.
didn't know.
Well, and he had bad experiences, right? Like, he had 3 stores that were like, I can speak to the game room. The game room was not a game store. It was a billiard store.
Yeah.
That we tacked on some board games and some card games in the back because
cool shit.
it would sell
Cool shit.
it would sell when the pool table didn't. You sell 1 pool table a month. Everything else sells on the daily basis. So that's how we kind of financed the back of the store. And it wasn't until like this game room started getting towards the end where they actually started even playing games there.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much a come in, purchase your stuff, and see you on your way out.
Talk a little bit and then get out.
Yeah.
The mall's going to close, so.
Yeah, and then they actually started doing board game day there too for a little while.
Yeah,
right?
I started board games there.
I
started board game there on the weekends, and then I forget what I think it was AEG started doing a board game event. Like, it was board game Saturday. It was a once a year thing where they would have this special black box that you could purchase that would have like rare games in it or things like that. So we started doing that. That got some interest. So we had more bigger crowds there, but it was gaming at the game room was very much a secondary thought. It was not the first thing on the owner's mind, that's for sure.
And not knocks in any other store, but like it's also that example of like going into a gaming store for the first time, you really don't know where to begin. It's very hard to onboard someone in any setting to, hey, look at this game. I'm not the kind of person that's going to go over and talk to someone playing the game at the table. And every situation is different for everyone. And it's like interesting to hear your story about your onboarding experience and you coming in and then you taking a leap for where you take the leap on what games. And it's nice to hear, that story from someone and, see the progression of it, which is great.
I will say there's no, in all the game stores I've been to, there's no one like Dan to be there to welcome you with open arms.
Thank you, my friend.
There's no onboarder. Like, as a shy person as I am, I have a hard time maybe interacting with people. Maybe I just keep to myself. So like a place like the game room, no one talks to me. I just walk in, I walk out, unless I'm buying something. We know John's a big ogre. John's not gonna help anybody. What do you want?
I mean, that was the culture at the game room that was unfortunate, but it was very much.
And pretty much every store I've been to, I've had a similar experience. No one's really there to be like, hey, what are you in for? What can I help you? What do you play? Oh, have you heard about this? That's not something that I have ever experienced until I've been to Red Seal.
Yeah. Well, that's just me. I wanted people to play games with. Yeah. That's all I really wanted. It wasn't really let me sell you this, let me sell you that. It's what do you like? What are you into? I mean, you came in my store, that's one of the easy things about owning a game store, I think, is that if anybody pulls on that handle and comes in the store, they're there. They want to be there.
You get psyched when they get you get psyched that they get psyched, and you're just.
I mean that's just our gaming group.
Yeah,
we always want more gamers. Gamers, I'll say it again. Gamers need gamers. Gamers are looking for gamers. Gamers don't even know maybe that they're looking for gamers until they come across them, and they. I mean, you came in here. We helped you get some product at first, and then Waylon presented an opportunity with a board game, and you started playing board games, and
the real
rest
sell
is
is the experiences, not just like buying something.
that's bingo.
Like,
That's I mean, they really
staying
can't,
here, playing with someone, enjoying it,
Yeah.
and then coming back every week.
Yeah.
Like that's the real sell.
Yeah, and then you enjoyed it so much that this is where you are now. That
Yeah.
you are the community lead on our Discord for Flesh and Blood. You are the face of Flesh and Blood at Red Seal Gaming.
Yep.
People have a question, they're going to come to you, and people know that too.
And we direct them to you.
And then we can direct them to you. And now on the Discord, we can direct them to you. You know,
Yeah.
say, and that's what we're doing with Discord, and that's what we're doing with this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And now if you're interested in Flesh and Blood, you know what Faiz looks like. So if you see him in the store,
Hunt him down.
Come see me.
come see him.
and expect to see Faiz again really soon, because we're going to be doing a CCG focused episode of Red Seal Gaming Presents on Flesh and Blood, and Faiz will join us again
Well,
and lend his expertise.
Before we go,
to the
let's
conversation.
hear your favorites. Let's hear your
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
board game.
Yeah,
Let's hear
that's a must.
Yeah.
A must have for anybody that comes on. We want to know some of your favorites. We know you might not be versed as much as the old curmudgeons that have been here. We've played a lot more, but you still probably have a favorite board game. So let's start with that.
I definitely played a lot of board games since RSG. I think the most standout one that hits like all the boxes for me is Isle of Cats.
Isle of Cats. Wow,
That's the
really?
Tetris one where you
That's
fit
the-
on the
yeah.
ship, right?
I'm a huge Tetris guy. Polyominoes that like scratches like a great itch for me.
Okay.
I like that it's like accessible, it's easy, but it's also like kind of hard.
Yeah, easy to learn, difficult to master.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can get punished very easily just by picking like not picking correctly, and then if you're trying to, you can never finish up filling your boat because you're trying to save all the cats.
Yeah.
But you
Can't
can,
see them all.
and then there's these cards that kind of flip the script. Sometimes you get punished for having too many cats or something like that. So it's just funny. It's always a different experience. I can teach it to anyone.
There you go.
Cool. Great game.
All right. So what about miniature game?
I haven't played a lot of miniature games. I have tried Marvel Crisis Protocol. I have tried Shatterpoint. And then Warhammer, I think that's first love.
40K
I think
would be the first.
I think
40K
is
over
my
Age of Sigmar
favorite.
still?
I think I definitely like playing Age of Sigmar a lot. I think I'm more well versed in the 40K lore
Absolutely.
and more
Without a
immersed
doubt,
in
the advantage it has.
It's
the
definitely deeper.
universe. And
lore is
especially
deeper.
with all the like videos and stuff, like
Yeah.
I just have much more deeper connection with it.
Yeah, the PC game alone.
Even though I still love and enjoy Age of Sigmar, probably just as much as 40K. But if I have to pick one, I'd pick 40K.
Okay.
Fair enough.
This one's a little harder.
And Necrons. We'll put
And
Necrons.
Yeah,
Necrons,
and
yeah,
like
40,
yeah,
definitely
Necrons is my shit.
Green destruction.
Also, I've been playing shooting games since like I was a kid,
Yeah.
like GTA, Call of Duty, like shooting.
So the shooting part of Warhammer 40K is in your
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
it's still related to like my upbringing. You know,
Okay.
I haven't actually had a lot of fantasy experience, like probably besides Lord of the
We're
Rings.
trying to fix that for you, and that's why we're making you,
You
watch
guys
all these
are like
movies
so
all the time.
super deep into
The
fantasy.
movie list
so
is
that's,
coming.
like,
Don't worry.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're gonna have we'll make the movie episode, and then we'll make him watch all the movies.
Yes. He's gonna get the first dossier. Like it's gonna go right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, watch these movies, and then you'll be wise.
Report
like
back.
us.
Well, we
Report
want
back.
a 2-page report for everyone.
This one's a little harder for you because I know you haven't been doing much of it, but RPG.
Favorite, really hard for me to say favorite. I don't have any.
You have one that
experience.
you liked more than the two that you
Or maybe
two and a
would
half that you
want to play.
tried?
Maybe you haven't
I
played.
think
Or
like, you know,
Dungeons
wanna try.
and Dragons is definitely the biggest pull for me.
Yeah.
I would love to experience.
So you've
Dungeons and
never
Dragons.
played Dungeons and Dragons?
Never
Never played
played. You guys talk about it so much.
We will have
I'm
to
dying to try it, especially hopefully with Dan as the DM.
We got super close once. We were like,
yeah.
here, let's get some books. Let's figure out what we're going to play, and then
The
deal
store
with it.
happened. The
Yeah,
store.
like-
And then I think number
Dan's
2
defense,
happened. I think,
Dan's
I think
The store
store 2 happened.
the store gets in the way a lot for me to do the D&D side of things. And then you know what? Honestly, I won't even say it's just the store. I don't want to blame the store because I love the store. I don't want to talk bad of it. Knock on wood. But what happens is I have so many people now. I mean, you have because we talk about it so much,
Yep.
like you say. And there's like 37 people at the store that want me to DM, and I do not like DMing more than like 6 players at a time. And it's like and then they're like, "Oh, well, make 4 campaigns." I'm like, "Are you insane?" At the way
That's a full-time
especially-
job.
especially
The
at
amount of time
depth-
it takes for
especially
one.
at the depth that I like to do the way I like to do it. Yeah, I could. Yeah, sure. I could you come to the store.
One-offs.
Maybe
Maybe
once a
one-off.
month I could do a one-off for a group and let them experience what it's like just to play with me and my play style. Not that it's always right, but it's the way I mean, I've been playing a long time, and people like the way I do things. So, Yeah, they can experience it once, but if I give them a little taste and they want more, I don't have the time.
It's gonna happen to him.
It's
It's gonna happen to you. Like,
give it to them, you know.
I want more.
Yeah, exactly. But,
I'm just trying to get the first hit of like D&D. Like I'm surrounded by it all the time with you guys.
his son,
Andrews
Lucas.
does not
he's,
stop.
Lucas
he's
is-
addicted to it.
well,
and
Lucas-
he hasn't.
Lucas is a perfect example of someone that got a taste.
Yeah.
Because he played with us for almost a year.
And he played in the
And he played
main
in-
group,
in
our
the
second
campaign.
main group
and
in
the big campaign, and he saw what my full storyline could be like, and the experience of playing with the group that we have, because a bunch of veteran players that are really good,
And he had
fun to play with.
He had his own moment, and that is, I think, the moment in D&D. If you have a moment where you shine, you're hooked for life.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I want you to have that. I want you to have a moment where your character does something that, because that's the ultimate, hook in flesh.
Yeah, that's when you're hooked. It's in
Yeah.
your veins. So, and then last but not
I
least,
mean, we know the answer to this one. But
we had to say it, but we saved it for last because we know it's probably the one you're most versed in right now. Is your favorite card game?
It's obviously Lorcana.
And Faiz, if those don't say that Faiz doesn't have a sense of humor. So let's
It has to be Flesh and Blood, 100%.
Yeah, let's end that
That's my
conversation.
favorite game.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that's being sold at RSG. I'll die on that hill.
there he goes.
I don't think enough people play it. I don't think enough people have tried it. I think there's something for everyone in that game.
Well,
enough.
if enough people aren't playing and enough people aren't trying, maybe you're not doing your job as a community leader, Faiz.
Well, I will.
when we have the Flesh and Blood episode, he'll be able to sell it to everybody, right,
Everybody,
Faiz?
yes.
Yeah, and I will say in Faiz's defense, I mean, card games I think are the hardest thing to stack multiples of
Yeah,
in one.
yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
I think you could play miniature games, different miniature games, small things, but I find card games are the thing that like it's all in on one or nothing.
Even
And
if you love it, like I do like Flesh and Blood. I do like the way it plays. It's different.
I
But-
know I'd probably
but with-
love it if I actually
I have
played it.
no
but
time. I have no time. You know how they say, I have no time for a new friend. I have no time for a new game. In
Card
my
games
life.
is tough. Card
And,
games
and,
is tough.
and as a guy that loves Magic and will always play Magic, and then running a store and being a father, but you're going to prioritize. And right now, Fab doesn't have enough time for me yet. Although Pirates look cool because Pirates are in this year.
Pirates are in this year.
That's why I'm coming back, as Pirates are awesome.
Oh, because Pirates are in this.
That
year,
was
so-
I love Flesh and Blood. I
Yeah.
championed it for a long time, but then Lorcana was coming down the pike, and I knew I couldn't handle both, so I jumped to the Lorcana.
Yeah, and then Star Wars got
and
me
then
in the mix
Star
too.
Wars
It
got
just,
me again because Destiny is still
Guillotine.
one of the best games. So
and then the IP. You
Yeah,
know,
the
not
IP
that- I
definitely
mean,
helps.
Fab's IP, I like it. I like that they put out story and that there's definitely lore, but you keep Star Wars is Star Wars. I mean,
And it's a good card. Well, they all have their own.
Yeah.
It's like I said. I just don't think you could have a family style portion of card games. Like
Yeah.
you have to be.
you
very
have to
lean.
have to. Yeah.
It's just
I mean,
how
I
it is.
always give Faiz a lot of flack for Flesh and Blood, and even the Flesh and Blood players. I've actually openly apologized to the Flesh and Blood players in the store in the past because I do bust their chops and like, oh, a dead game.
Yeah,
and
them and
blah, blah, blah.
BattleTech. They're on
And
the same.
but no,
They're on the same.
That's a
duel.
dead game.
That's
Yeah.
but definitely check out in the next couple episodes. You're going to see a Flesh and Blood centric episode that will tell you more about it.
Yes, and I have played it. I know Sal hasn't really played it, but he does know of it and what's going on. Chris is an avid fan, as you know, and then we'll have our buddy Faiz on that episode as well. So thank you for joining us, and I'd like to thank Faiz for taking some time. Come out here. He's an invaluable member of the store and of the community. So if you have any questions about Flesh and Blood, come and see Faiz or hit him up on the Discord. And once again, thanks for joining us here at the Red Seal Gaming Presents. And as I always like to say, never stop gaming.
Thank you, FaZe.
Thanks, Faiz.
No problem. Have a good one.
Get the hell out of here, man.